Hi flosstube, welcome to my home. My name's Lisa and this is my channel about stitching. I thought today I'd bring you a little bit of an update. Have been stitching a lot, which has been fun. I have a couple finishes. I have a couple fully finished things. Some things in process of finishing. I have some whips to share with you that I put some time into. Have a new start, all the things. So I think I've decided that I am going to do just a regular update now, and then I think I'm going to go through my whips. I've been watching a lot of whip parades, and I always think you always love a good whip parade, right? So I thought I would do one of those today and kind of do a whip parade slash plans slash ideas and hopes type of video. So we'll see. I'm starting to get my thoughts together for the new year. And anyway, I've been stitching. I stitched all day yesterday and the day before, and I think the day before. It's like Merry Christmas to me. So I've just been diving in and finishing a few things. So anyway, let's stop talking about it and let's just start showing some things, right? Okay, so I was in my sewing room the other day working on some stuff, and I thought I would go ahead and try to finish this one completely. This is a Scattered Seed Samplers pattern. I couldn't find the chart. I don't know exactly where I've stuck it. But anyway, I had already sewn it, I think, but I just needed to stuff it more, and I needed to finish the back. So I covered up my little hole in the back that I used for stuffing. And anyway, just did some big stitches on it. But now that one's ready for spring. My sewing room is such a blowout. But I'm going to get it under control. I've decided that this is the year I'm going to find a home for things in this room. And if there's not enough room for it here, it's going to have to go back into my original craft room down in the basement. And I need to clear off my spaces. So if it's flat, it's piled. And I gotta break that habit. So I also did my last one of Keeper of the Pins by Brenda Gervais, and I just did a rough shape heart and did some big stitching on it, but now it can go in with the rest of the little pillows in that series, and I'm pretty sure I've stitched all of them, but they're all spread out throughout my house right now. I kind of split them up for a couple little areas. So okay, now I also, my finish was Early Christmas Morning by Blackbird Design, and I've had the stitching done except for the berries for quite a while, and I just kept telling myself, oh, just do the little berries and get it over with. But I hated the thought of starting and stopping my thread each time. And this linen is kind of thin, and I was afraid it would show. So I went down to the basement and I found some SF101, which is what I use on some other type of stitching, like embroidery and things like that. And so I thought, well, I'll just put that on there and see if I can travel. And I could. So I was able to get all of the little berries put in place. And I've started my drum shape. It wasn't coming out as smooth as I would like, but I still have more spots that I could do more lacing. We'll see. It was one of those things where it just wasn't going as smooth as I was hoping, so I just kind of lost a little bit of momentum in it. But at least it's in there, It's a little wonky, but I think I can work it out. So now I just have to decide. I didn't do the stitching. There, the original piece has like a Merry Christmas and stitching all the way around. I mean, it was a lot of stitching. And so I wasn't interested in that. I always planned on doing some kind of fabric around the stitched piece. And I had been toying with this red wool to be, let's see here. See if I can hold it better. So anyway, I was thinking about this red wool on the sides, but then I wasn't sure, even if I put interfacing on it, how tight I could stuff my drum. So I also found this fabric in my stash, and I thought, well, that might be pretty too. So anyway, so that's in process. I still got to make some more decisions on that, but at least the stitching part's done, so I can count it as a finish. I think I went through all my whips, and I went through and figured out how many finishes I've done this year. And so I think I was at like 11 finishes for this year, which is not very earth-shattering. But there still might be other ones that never made it into a video. That's how I was trying to go through. I just kind of fast forwarded through a couple of my videos because I think I only did like 5 videos this year. It's been a pathetic year for being creative, but anyhow, because now that I think about it, I don't think I had either of these on there on my list, and those were starts and finishes. So there's probably more than that. But over the last couple of days stitching, I finished 3 more projects. So that's been exciting. So let's see. I will show you what I have finished. Probably the biggest one that's been hanging around forever is Rabbit Hollow Farms by Stacy Nash. I started this, years. It's been years that I've been working on this. This is what the chart looks like. And I had done everything except the very bottom where it had Rabbit Hollow. And I just wasn't really crazy about this font. And I thought, oh, I'll just rechart it for, you know, like style letters that I enjoy better. Not that there was anything wrong with it. It just didn't do anything for me. And then I toyed with just leaving it off altogether. And then I toyed with doing more of that border. But her borders are no joke. And so those flowers weren't that fun. So I thought, I can't do the last border in those flowers again. I'll never finish this. So anyway, I just decided, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I thought, just do it. So I just did it the way it was charted. And it turned out cute, and it's done. So here she is. Of course, I did my own colors, which I never wrote down. And literally in the bag that it was in, there was literally like a handful of just random DMC, not even in skeins, just like no numbers. I mean, crazy town, the way I used to roll, but that's just how I did. I would take it, I would need it for another project, so I would just steal it and think that, oh, I will remember where I put it and what I used, and yeah, that's not the case. So, but anyhow, I am tickled with how it turned out. Now I just have to look to see if I can come up with a frame. And I really like this fabric, even though it's like a 32 count, probably. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like a 32 count. There's some extra fabric, so I'm excited to start a bunch of new things. I'm planning on doing the 12 by 12 on New Year's Eve. And so my plan for the next few days is to start hacking off fabric on projects that do not need it. And because a lot of times I just don't cut my fabric down. I just leave the big chunk together. And so anyway, I need to take things apart so I have some fabric to start all these things. Okay, so then I ran across, sorry, and everything's all kind of discombobulated here. I ran across Seasons of the Heart by Brenda Gervais. I had done the spring one, and I just never could decide whether I wanted to do the little tags or if I wanted to just continue the stitching. And so it just kind of languished for a while. And I even cut a piece of wool to go on the back to make the pillow. I cut a piece of wool and I was just ready to go. And I thought, oh, I don't want to deal with the tags. So I went back the other day and I just finished. You have the option of whether you want to stop and put the tag in there, or you can just continue the border all the way. So that's what I decided to do. And so now this one's all finished. This is on a 40 count linen, and I just picked my own colors, and I think it's on like a Winter's Brew or a Brenda's Brew, something like that. So now I can make that into a pillow and finish that up. But I'm going to try to start the other ones in my 12 by 12. So, okay. And then there was a freebie by Not Forgotten Farm called Be Calm. And it was during the Stay Home and Stitch thing where all the designers were giving away free charts and stuff. And so I worked on this a lot. I was trying to fill in the calm, around the wording there, the center of the sunflower. I worked on this a little bit when my mom was so bad. And so this just kind of had bad memories on it. And I just kind of set it aside and thought, eh. But now, now some of the pain isn't as evident as it had been before, and now I can kind of remember a lot of the good things. And so I went ahead and I was able to finish this up last night. And I didn't have much to do. I had to do the three of the bees and fill in the calm, around the calm. And then it's supposed to have a basket, but I didn't necessarily want the basket, so I just did a little bit of stitching to kind of look like the ground. But so anyway, so now that's done, and I have some more fabric that I can do something on. I'm thinking this is the fabric I'm going to do my salt box houses from Melissa, Pinker and Pumpkin. I want to restart some of hers, and so I'm thinking that's going to be on that fabric. So, okay. Sorry, I just found a random needle. Just chilling out. Okay. And then I did some work on let's see, what's this called? Something Thistle Hill. Yuletide at Thistle Hill. Oh, phooey. I can't remember who it's by, so I'm going to have to open it up. My stuff is so... How do you guys do whenever you're stitching away? So like I will be stitching away and I'll think, all right, I'm done for now, but I might come back to it in a little bit. So I don't necessarily want to put everything back away in the project bag. So I just lay it there on my stitchy area. But then when I come back, I'm not really anxious to work on that same project right then, and I think, okay, well maybe I'll just do this one a little bit and then I'll come back to it. Okay, so now I have two projects that aren't in their project bag. They're just all laying everywhere. And so who knows where my chart covers go. And now this one is kind of confusing, so I had to use my magnet board. Do you guys have these? Sometimes when it's like something that you really need to count and you don't want to screw up. So I get my little magnet out and I keep moving it down. And anywho. Well, now I don't know where my cover page is. But I've shared it before. This is what it looks like. So I was able to get a lot of work done on this house down in the bottom corner. Really loving how it's turned out. Of course, this was another one to where most of my threads were not still in the bag, and wasn't even sure what bag that it went to. I don't know if I'll ever get better at this, but we can always hope, right? So maybe next year. Maybe next year. Okay, I did a little bit of work on Brenda Key's Red House Sampler. And I'm also deciding, do I want to do a Sunday stitch? Do you guys do a Sunday stitch, a Sabbath stitch? I know Lori Holt and a lot of people do, Christy, and that's probably the day that I would stitch the most. And so, but then I think, oh, do I always want to have the day that I can do the most stitching be always on one project? I don't know. But I guess if you did that, then maybe you would finish that project quicker, right? I don't know. I think too much. Okay, so if you haven't been here before, I've changed my colors on the house. It was an orangey red charted, and I don't like the orangey red. So I did mine in a blue, and I've changed all the colors basically. So this last time I was able to do this little row, and then I did the grass up above, and then I did that little motif. And it was supposed to be red, red flowers, and I thought, oh, maybe it would be fun to try to bring in the color that I'm using for the border into the center of it, just to try to tie it all together. And so that's what I did, but it didn't show up very good. It just looked kind of weird. So I decided to do some little veins out of the blue that I used in the house. And so I don't know if I'm crazy about it yet, but that part's done. So we'll see. But so this one's actually coming along pretty good. I think this is the top. So, but there's a lot of tiny little motifs in the rest of that. But then this is another one that I have quite a bit of fabric on this side hanging out. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna chop that off. Because gosh, fabric is expensive to try to buy this all fancy stuff. Okay. So that's that one. I did a tiny amount, but hey, tiny amounts count. I did a little bit on the Wool and Flax Company. I have this one and I have the Milk and Cream Company. And they're both on the same fabric. I want to say it's an R&R fabric. vintage beeswax or something like that. So anyway, the little bit that I was able to do was I started the sheep. I finished the girl's hat. I just have to do her face now. And then I just started some of the green over here, and then I worked on some of the sheep. Boy, there's a lot of stitching in these. Poette is like an overachiever. It's like she's getting commission off the thread or something. But anyway, love Poette. So I worked a little bit on that one. And speaking of Poette Plum Street samplers, I worked a little bit on Blue Skin. If you've been here before, I have mistake after mistake after mistake in this one, and I'm okay with it. It's trees and leaves and a tree trunk, so it doesn't really matter if it's exactly the way it's charted. It's gonna be cute. So I have done this one on a piece of 36 count driftwood by Fabrics by Stephanie. Oh, and this is another one. Look how much fabric I have on this one. So there's going to be a lot of things on this fabric. Okay, and so this is where I am so far. I was able to finish the horse's leg. I got George pretty much done. I think he has a couple buttons I need to put in there. And then I started on this tree branch here. Really, there's not that much. I just have to do this branch, and then the date. And then I think that's done. So, I just love the colors. It's all DMC, except for the horse I used Parchment by Weeks. But I just love those two shades of red. Just DMC. So pretty. And I don't have my threads in here. I would tell you what those are, but that's another one of my goals. Do you guys set goals? I always set them and I never really fulfill them. But I'm always hopeful that maybe this will be the year. So, but my goal on all of these that I start is when I have my floss rings, I'm going to have an extra piece cut out that's going to say what the project is that all the threads go for. I'm going to list my fabric if I know, which is always a big, it's never been a high priority for me, but I see because I just change things willy-nilly. I very rarely ever do the called for on anything, so and that's part of the fun for me, is just to change it up and see how it turns out. But I know a lot of people, and I do too. I mean, if I see like something that I've watched Lori Holt do or whatever, and I think, oh, I love her colors. I mean, I'm not above using somebody's conversion at all. I mean, but I just seldom am so prepared that I go and get the right thing. I usually just grab floss that I have right here in front of me and just start stitching. So we'll see. But I think if I list those things on the actual thread ring, I think it'll be easier for me to just look at the threads and say, okay, it's on this fabric, this count, called for or not, you know, the drill. And then I could just keep that little card and just, so I could just hold it up and let people screenshot it or whatever. So that's my goal for all of these that I start on New Year's Eve, which I haven't shown you, but all the ones that I'm going to start, I'm going to hopefully instill this type of a practice. We'll see. Okay, and so then I was talking to Darlie yesterday, and she was like, didn't we start another project together? And so it was Shepherd Song. And so she says, we were talking about some of the colors, and, you know, I had told her that I messed up on picking the colors for the house, and I had used 2 different blacks, and so but I had done such a big section of it, I wasn't going to rip it out. So now my house is just going to be kind of chunky with different colors of black. But anyhow, and I'm okay with that, whatever. I'm not ripping out on 40 count. So, but really this 40 count had been kind of a struggle for me. It was never a fun stitch for me, a fun count. I always had a hard time doing the sewing method, and but for some reason I went back to it the other day and I didn't feel any of that. I don't know what changed. I don't know, but I'm happy with it. So anyway, yesterday she was talking about, she's like, well, since I've got all my stuff out, I might as well stitch for a little bit. And so we both decided we were going to start working on it, and we picked a floss tube to watch together. And so that was kind of fun. Unfortunately, she got called away to do some other things, and so she didn't get to spend much time stitching on it. But I got a lot done. I decided to continue working on it a lot the rest of the evening. And so, let's see, what have I done since the last time you saw it? I worked on the house. I had done like 3 rows of the door. And so I was able to do all of the house above, finish the door, and do some more rows on that side. I filled in all the windows. I did the flower on top of the stem. I did the little girl's head. And then I brought my black line of stitching, the border line, I brought it down and across, and then I brought this side, I was about to here, so I brought it down and across, and they all met. Hallelujah. And then I finished these 2 rows of greenery for the grass. I did the face, couple faces on the sheep. Not necessarily face, I did their heads. And then I just got a thread in my mouth. And then I was able to bring, I had the border to here, and so I was able to finish the border greenery down to there. So anyway, so now I know exactly where the bottom of the piece is, and I've got more fabric. So this is I think Brenda's Brew, or it's an R&R something. So this one's moving along. But boy, I was looking at this roof, and I mean, that's no joke. I don't know that I don't know that my brain has the capability of that roof. So we'll see. I did look at the pattern, and it looks like there is a way that you could just do like a square of 4 and go up diagonally and do another square of 4. You know what I mean? And then you can kind of work your way down. But that doesn't look fun at all. So we'll see. I like it looking like shingles, but we'll see. But anyway, I'm excited. I think I got quite a ways on that just in an evening. So, well, really, it was hours, but who's counting? So, I'm excited to be putting a little bit of work into that one. So, okay. And then speaking of Darlie, I do have a New Year's start that I'm planning on doing. We both went to StitchCon together. And while we were there, she bought me this pattern and I bought her this pattern. And so we were joking and saying we should start something together for the new year. And so we're going to start this drum. It's on 40 count. It's tiny. But anyway, I don't think I'm going to do it in the called for colors. I've been liking the idea of doing things in blue. I kind of want to revamp my bedroom a little bit. I'll keep that beautiful quilt that my mom made for me. That's kind of like a wine maroon color. I'll keep that up where it's at. But I'm thinking everything else, like my bedding and just everything on the walls, I want to start bringing in a lot of blue. Like the blue house sampler, I plan on putting that in there. And I wanted to do some 2-color quilts, so I was thinking maybe blue and cream or blue and taupe. Sorry, I'm sounding froggy. So anyway, I think that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm just going to do try to pull some blue threads together and see what I can come up with on kind of a darker taupe linen. We'll see. So that's going to be my New Year's Day start. And then New Year's Eve, like I said, I'm hoping to start 12 things. That'll be fun. Okay, so that pretty much covers my whips, I think. I got something really fun in the mail. I've never had the Book of Days. But I got one sent to me. And I believe you pronounce her name Sian. It's S-I-A-N. And she lives in Wales. And so she went to the attic for one of their workshops, and she got a Book of Days and took it home with her and then sent it to me. So it's a very well-traveled book. But I know I'm pretty good about getting things soiled pretty quick, so I made a cover for it. There's a really good tutorial on making book covers on YouTube that I like to watch. And so I took, and I don't have stickers, but I have tons of stamps. So I went ahead for January and I just stamped some snowflakes. I played around and made a little bookmark with wool and paper. And inside it has a cute chart for some cross stitch that says friendship on it. And it just all kind of clicked with me. I was thinking, oh, I'll make this little book cover. And then when I was reading through it, I saw this chart that says friendship. And I thought, that should be my word of the year. I would like to try to really take the time to be conscious to really develop good friendships with people. I feel like I have a lot of friends that I converse with very, I mean, we don't talk a lot, but, we jibber jabber here and there. But I just really feel like I want to be intentional this year and just really make an effort to bring people into my life and really try to develop more friendships. Not that the friendships I have are lacking in any way, because they're totally not. It's just, I feel like a lot of times we just go through the motions of daily life and we don't put much effort into developing things. And I thought, that's going to be my word for the year. So I've decided to, it's not finished, of course, but I started stitching friendship. So, of course, there's more here and here that still need finished. And it's just the cross-stitch chart, so I can't show you what it'll look like. But sorry. Hello. I had made gosh. Do you ever get your shoulder that just goes into a bad spot? Anyway. Okay. You've got this. So I had made this folder, or this book back in 2019. It was a freebie off Pinterest, and I just made the same type of book cover. And so my idea was to try to do that same thing with my book of days. So I'm planning on, I mean, this will be a lot shorter. This is the end of it right here. So, but then I plan on putting some doilies and some buttons and zhuzh it up a little bit. But so I'm very excited. So thank you, Cian. I hope that's how you say your name. Thank you for thinking of me. I love it. And I'm very excited thinking that I might actually be able to keep up on what I've been stitching, which will make the video so much easier because I have to like go through all of my piles of stuff trying to figure out what I worked on. So that way I can be very professional and know what I started and what I've finished, and it's gonna be good. So I just put some extra pages of cardstock in there just to kind of beef it up. And I plan on having a paper for finishes and all the info all in one spot. So I worked a little bit on that. And then I'm thinking about doing WIPCO this year for the first time, which might be a complete and utter failure because I hate to tell myself what to do. But somebody's got to do it because I just am not motivated. What is up with this one hair? Anyhow. So I thought, okay, we have new internet service. So I thought, okay, I've got to go and reconnect my copier with my phone with the new Wi-Fi. And so I can download my WIPCO board. And well, I am just not tech savvy. And the whole thought of that was just enough to say, let's not do WIPCO. So I thought, I have paper and I have stamps and whatnot. So I just made my own cheesy WIPCO board. So I've just numbered 1 through 25. And whenever the numbers are called, I plan on taping a little circle to the spot. And then once I finish the goal, which I think I'm just going to pick like 2 or 3 days when a number's called, I'm just going to, I don't have any plans of trying to finish all my projects or whatever. I just want to work on it for 2 or 3 days, I think. And then if I finish it, I'll just stamp it with a B. And so then on the back here, I'm going to list all my WIPs. And I was looking, and I think since I finished like 3 things just the last 2 or 3 days, I am down to 13, I think, WIPs. 13 WIPs. And then if you add 12, so that comes up with a 25, which is just the number that I need. So I think it's just all coming together. So anyhow, but yeah, I have hopes and dreams that this is going to be a good year. It's funny, I went back to, if you haven't been here before, I had my knees replaced back in the spring. And I just haven't gotten back to normal like I thought I would. But I went back to the surgeon, and they did x-rays, and they said there's nothing wrong, that I just have tendonitis now, which is just something, you know, it's funny, you think, oh, you get new knees, and then you just get a new kind of pain, but whatever. Anyhow, but it was good to find out that, you know, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing that they have to redo. I just have to work harder and harder and just get back to doing what I want to do. So anyway, where was I going with this? Oh, But my shoulder, I did something to my shoulder, and it is just terrible. It's like it gets in a groove, and you just want to just scream until it goes back in, and then you're like, okay, I'm fine now. But every once in a while. So anyway, they did an x-ray, and there's nothing wrong, and of course I'm just old, and so they put a shot in it, and it's so funny. The shot has really not done much of anything for my shoulder, but my knees don't hurt near like they did, because like when I would stand up, it would be awful. And just within like the last 3 or 4 days, I've noticed, it was funny because I had been stitching for a long time. One evening we were watching a movie, and I went to get up, and I was thinking, oh, this is going to be bad, because I watched a whole movie without getting up. And I was thinking to myself, oh, this is going to be bad. And I got up, and it didn't hurt at all. I mean, like nothing. And that was such a bizarre thing. It was like, what's going on? Because like literally, like to stand up was the worst pain that I think I've ever had. And I mean, it was every time I would stand up. So, and then after I would stand up for like 3 or 4 seconds, it would go away. But terrible until then. And anyway, but somehow that little shot in my shoulder has migrated down to my knees. And so, I don't know how long it'll last. Just going with it, and thankful that it's doing it for now. And so, we actually took the dogs for a long walk yesterday, and I thought, it's just, I gotta get while the getting's good. So anyway, so that's a little knee recap. I appreciate all the people who have been praying for me and hoping that it will get back to normal soon. And so who knows, maybe this will just be the little oomph that I need to get back into the swing of things. So, okay. Wow, we're at 42 minutes. So, anyway, so I think that was going to be it for today. I just wanted to do, I think I've got all my little piles. This room is a complete blowout. It's okay, though. We're going to get there. So anyway, I think I will head off here now, and then I'm going to do a whip parade / whip go / plans video next. And because there are some things that I'm just going to put in inactive. It's not something that I'm really even anxious to get up on my wall or whatever. And so there's too many things that I really want to stitch to spend, to spend time on stitching the things that aren't exciting. So there's like 5 or 6 things that I think I'm just going to put in an inactive bin. And if I ever decide to go back to it, that's fine. If not, whatever. And then there's a bunch of things that either I don't like my linen or I don't like the coverage. And so those things I am just going to completely unkit and just put the charts back in my stash and just move on and stitch all the fun things. So anyway, so I'm planning on doing that a little bit too. And I'd be interested to know what you guys are doing for new plans. If you have any exciting things that you're hoping to accomplish this next year. It's always an exciting time, I think. But then sometimes it's hard to keep up with all of those ideas. But hey, you got to try, right? Okay, I hope this isn't too cheesy. And I hope you'll come back and join me again, and we'll show a whip parade. So y'all take care, stitch all the things. If you want to share them with me, I'm Lisa Abby 9137 on Instagram. And so you can send pictures real easily that way, and I love to see what you're working on. So y'all take care. Have a wonderful New Year's. Hope you had a great Christmas, and hope your New Year's brings all the things that bring you joy. Take care.